Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Inside Sports. I'm Mark Keller. We are glad to have you with us. High school sports season now in full swing here in Washington County. We're going to talk about just what we've seen so far as the official start of autumn approaches this weekend. Bob Parcelletti is back with us this week to discuss high school football. A rough start for a few teams in the county. As a matter of fact, 4 teams are winless at this point and face critical games because after this week, 1/3 of the season will be gone. Hard to believe that that's already the case. Next, Dan Kaufman joins me to talk high school volleyball. The big dogs in the county have had some tough matches in the early going. Dan will catch us up on how they did and what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. Then Andy Mason steps in to discuss cross country. The first big invitational meet is behind us. Andy will fill us in on who stood out at the Rebel Invitational over the weekend and look ahead to the next meets coming up on the schedule. So stay with us. Bob Parcelletti starts things off when Inside Sports returns right after this.
Cynthia Moeller-Sullivan of Sullivan Select Real Estate has been recognized by HomeLight in 3 categories: top overall producer, top seller's agent, and top agent that sells for more. Unlike other real estate venues, agents cannot pay to be recognized by HomeLight. If you are considering the sale of your home, call Cynthia for a free market analysis, 301-988-5115. When it comes to real estate, select the best with Sullivan Select.
Thank you for seeing us so quickly. He's just unbearable when he's sick.
I'm glad that you came right into Meritus Urgent Care.
We have just what you need to feel better faster, young bear.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Meritus Urgent Care is located off Moggins Avenue on Creighton Boulevard. For more information, visit meritushealth.com/urgent care.
Introducing Antietam Smart Wi-Fi, the ultimate home networking solution. Smart Wi-Fi expands your wireless network and can eliminate Wi-Fi dead zones. Adding Smart Wi-Fi access points creates a Wi-Fi blanket for all of your devices, so you get consistent wireless internet speeds anywhere in your house. So go ahead and browse, game, and stream video in any room. Make the most of your internet with Smart Wi-Fi from Antietam Broadband. Smart homes deserve smart Wi-Fi.
This month, Washington Goes Purple is focused on expanding the conversation about the dangers of prescription painkillers, the gateway to heroin. Every day, 91 people die from heroin or prescription painkiller overdose. Now's the time to start the conversation with your kids, friends, and neighbors about the epidemic and join us in a fight we will win and end our county's addiction to opioids. Log on to WashingtonGoesPurple.com for a list of events supporting our vision of an addiction-free county. We can't do it alone. Join us and let's prevent addiction.
Welcome back to Inside Sports, talking high school football now. Bob Parcelletti, Herald Mail Insider, joins me as we get ready for our game of the week this week, St. James at Williamsport. We'll have live coverage of that for you on Friday here on Antietam Broadband. We'll have more on that later. But Bob, let's start with St. James coming off a 48-7 loss to Flint Hill that puts them at 0-3 for the first time since 2006. And they had to come in knowing this was going to be a tough game against a team that's won now 24 in a row. But Coach John Root couldn't have been real pleased with the performance from the Saints this past week.
Well, he's got youthitis, I think, is the best thing I could say. Is he's got a lot of guys that are thinking instead of reacting, and have their memories are too long. If they get burnt or if they get hit, they remember it for a while. So, I mean, he's got a lot of young kids, especially on defense, and the offense isn't as explosive as he would like it to be. They're having trouble running the ball. I've seen them twice, and both times they had trouble getting past the line of scrimmage because they just couldn't. The defensive side is just pushed, the other team's defense is just pushing into the backfield. I think they had 23 plays that were 0 or under this last week.
Yeah, it was pretty much Flint Hill from the start in this one. They led 28-0 at halftime, shut out the St. James offense. As you said, one bright spot, Isaiah Knight rushed for 111 yards after a 272-yard performance the previous week. St. James avoided the shutout with a pick 6 in that one, but what's it going to take to get that offense going for St. James?
Well, after the game, John said, we really have to start working hard on the defense. We need to, do things. We're going to have to simplify things. And he says, if there's a flavor below vanilla, we got to find it. But the defensive side is very young, and a lot of sophomores playing for them. They had a few guys that didn't come back and play this year, and they're just learning on the fly. So it's going to be a point where the offense really has to do a little bit more to help the defense out, and I don't know if that's in there yet. It's going to take some time.
Let's go to the other side of the matchup in Williamsport. After losing in Week 1, comes back with a 28-7 win over Smithsburg this past week, celebrating the 50th season of football down there in Williamsport this year. And Williamsport kind of struggled offensively in Week 1 against Manchester Valley, but Taj Wagner kind of helped get things going in Week 2.
Well, I know they've been talking about that they're very young too, but I think what makes up for the youth is athleticism. And Taj Wagner is a different player this year. He's really gone after. They moved him from receiver to a running back, and you look at him, and I mean he's already a big or a good like physical athlete specimen type thing. But you look at him and you can see a focus. You can see that he really wants to play. You see how he wants to, really go out there. And he's kind of, I think, kind of like the silent leader. I think he's kind of like the leader on offense, and I think Brandon Oyster's the leader on defense. And the kids seem to revolve around them. But Wagner had a really nice game against Smithsburg. He only got one touchdown, but a lot of his runs set up things for them to score later.
Let's talk about the defense for the Wildcats. They had a solid game in Week 1 and a loss to Manchester Valley, but then hold Smithsburg to just 7 points, and that came midway through the fourth quarter as well. You mentioned Brandon Oyster. He's kind of spearheading things for them on defense.
Yeah, he's a guy that you see his number up there a lot. When he's come running by. I think the big key to the two things that got Smithsburg for Williamsport was, number one, they were a little more physical, and they really beat him off the line, so they were putting the offensive line on their heels. And with Smithsburg trying to run that ball control offense, they call it the flex bone. It didn't take off that well. And then secondly is the fact that they hit really hard. I mean, they were coming in and they were hitting, and they were, jarring balls loose. They had 3 instances where Smithsburg went for it on 4th and 1, and they didn't let them get the first down on any of the 3.
So let's look at this matchup, and both of these teams, looking to kind of gain confidence, it sounds like, as this part of the season. Williamsport's win last week enough to sort of give them an edge in this matchup?
Well, I think that because of the Saints trying to figure out the defense and how to stop them, and if you got the athleticism of the quarterback, Jared Snow, and they have a couple other running backs that do pretty well, and then you give it to Wagner, you can try to key on him, but I don't think you can stop him. So, I mean, the defense has been a problem. Offensively, they basically, I mean, they're going to have to find another option. I mean, because Knight is pretty much it. He had they only had like about 120 yards rushing, and he had 111 of it.
Well, St. James won the matchup of these two teams last year. We'll see how things play out this Friday. Let's go to South Hagerstown, talk about the Rebels, the only team in the county right now without a loss. They beat North Hagerstown 44-12 in Week 1, then knocked off Howard 19-10. Last week, you saw the Rebels against North Hagerstown. What did you see as their biggest strength in that one?
I think everybody thought the king was dead, but long live the king. They're kind of a sneaky good. They have a lot of guys back, but they were all guys that were like kind of, I don't want to say bit players, but not the mainstays for the offense last year. They had to find a new quarterback. Well, they got 2 of them now. And I think that it's going to go to whoever they think they need at that point. They need more of a running back or a throwing passer, or more of a passer. And I think that's going to help them, I think, in some ways. I think they kind of got an idea that they got the talent. They just tailor it to whatever they need. So against South, they really wanted to run a lot. They wanted to run hard. O'Shane Thorpe came in first time ever as a quarterback, did a great job. Threw well and really got the team running. And plus, I think on defense, they're so physical. I mean, they've gone in and they've hit really hard. I know it got North's attention early. And, between all that, I think that's what's carrying them. I mean, I think their versatility of the guys they have. I mean, they ran like 7 or 8 guys against North. Plus, the defense is aggressive.
Talk about the line play, because one thing that the coach Randy Longnecker talked about during the North game was the play of particularly the offensive line. That they didn't miss a lot of blocks. They stayed on their blocks. Did you see a lot of that as well?
Well, I mean, when the hole's open, that's easy. It's an easy way to see what the line's doing. I mean, I don't think South does anything that complicated, but they do pride themselves on having very good offensive lines. Chris Adams is a guy that they've been touting as like the next really great lineman they're going to have, and he's only a junior. And they thought about he was going to be great when he was a sophomore. So, I mean, he's the guy they build around. They have a couple of other guys that are back. They always seem to have at least 3 linemen back. So they have experience there. And, I mean, they don't do a lot of things that are difficult. They just simple as, keep it simple, stupid mentality.
Finally, let's talk about Boonesboro. 2 games already against teams in 1A West. They lost to Catoctin in week 1, came back and beat Allegheny. First time they beat Allegheny in the regular season. So what do we know now about Boonesboro that maybe we didn't know before?
Well, I think they're not so bad at quarterback. I mean, after Josh DeRocher, who was kind of a running type guy that, did a lot but passed some. I mean, he was a little versatile. They have Brady Ingram and he's kind of tall and lanky, but he's been throwing the ball, but the mainstay is Ethan Holobenko, and I mean he bowled his way in against Allegheny, and they made a great stop on a conversion play at the end to save the 1-point win. But I mean that's got to be a big boost to this team going in. I mean, and they got Brunswick this week, and next week they play Middletown at home. Those are 2 big games, too.
Absolutely. Certainly going to be in the mix there in 1A West. Bob, thanks a bunch. Appreciate it. We'll have Dan Kaufman coming up next to talk volleyball right after this.
Hello, my name is Jim Gross, and I'm very involved in our local sports community, as you may have seen me on the volleyball court, the wrestling mat, or the softball field officiating sports. I'm also the broker and owner of Absolute Real Estate, as I've been making it easy for over 20 years in Washington County for people to buy and sell homes. Call me, Jim Gross, at 301-788-7888 for absolutely the best in savings and service, and ask me about my sports organization donation program.
Introducing Antietam Smart Wi-Fi, the ultimate home networking solution. Smart Wi-Fi expands your wireless network and can eliminate Wi-Fi dead zones. Adding Smart Wi-Fi access points creates a Wi-Fi blanket for all of your devices, so you get consistent wireless internet speeds anywhere in your house. So go ahead and browse, game, and stream video in any room. Make the most of your internet with Smart Wi-Fi from Antietam Broadband. Smart homes deserve Smart Wi-Fi.
Access to high-speed internet is critical for school-aged children. Since 2014, Antietam Broadband and Washington County Public Schools have partnered to connect students and families in need with low-cost, high-speed internet service at home. Every child deserves an opportunity to succeed. Ask your child's teacher for more information on the Antietam EduNet program. A message from Washington County Public Schools and Antietam Broadband.
Welcome back to Inside Sports. Going to talk some high school volleyball here now. Dan Kaufman, Herald Mail Insider, joins us. And Dan, one of the teams we didn't really talk about last week in the preview was Heritage Academy, and they've gotten off to quite a good start this season, 6-1 already.
Yeah, we ignored them because I was too long-winded with talking about all the other teams last week. But, I thought Heritage was going to be a little bit down this year after the graduation of Michaela Hoy, and kind of thinking that, they've had some really good players come through that program over the last decade. Kind of started with the Kara Stamper era. And then, of course, more recently, they had Chloe Prejean go through now at Maryland, and Michaela Hoy come through now at Shepherd. And I was like, I don't know if they're going to have that same power this year. Maybe they'll be kind of middle of the pack in the Mason-Dixon Christian Conference. But again, that 6-1 start, everybody except Calvary is kind of chasing at Heritage. Calvary is leading the conference right now, the only team to beat Heritage. And Heritage is getting it done with kind of some new faces. Chloe Gaylor has kind of taken over as their number 1 offensive player. Leah Fizzler has stepped in as a real nice number 2 for them. Summer Seward did return. She's still anchoring the back row as their libero. And, it's same old Heritage. Coach Anderson does a great job with that program year in and year out. And right now, boy, they're playing very well. Just got a good 5-set win over a pretty solid Shalom Christian team, too, one Monday night. So, tip of the cap to them.
So safe to say that they're going to be in the mix here in the MDCC?
Sure looks like. I mean, right now they're running a solid second. Now, a couple of their other league wins have been, again, close 5-set affairs. But hey, they're getting the job done. Still half of the season to go, and then we'll get to the tournament. But certainly they're ahead of where I thought they would be at this point. And again, it's a credit to the whole team.
Let's go to the public schools now. And team that we always talk about, Williamsport, starting off very strong, sweeps over South Hagerstown and Linganore. Pretty much what we expected from Williamsport.
Absolutely,
right?
and the Linganore win is impressive because Linganore's kind of one of those Frederick County teams. I think Frederick County volleyball has gotten stronger over the last 5 years. When you look at Linganore, Oakdale, Urbana, and Tuscarora, all of those programs are pretty solid at this point. So anytime you beat one of those schools, you're also playing well. And of course, they beat South in impressive fashion in the season opener. Williamsport had a lot of talent back. A lot of their pieces came back from last year's state championship team. You've got a sophomore in Mackenzie Pryor stepping up into an even bigger role this year. Mackenzie Shank is still an all-around talent as their setter who can do a lot of different things, not just assist people. She can block, she can hit a little bit. And obviously great coaching in Coach Pryor, who's already won, not Coach Pryor, Coach Moyer, my apologies, who's won 2 titles in the last 3 years and clearly knows what she's doing. I don't think Williamsport could ask for a much better start, and they're playing as a team and really hitting on all cylinders right now.
Team that has had a kind of a slow start. North Hagerstown, only 1 match so far, and it was a rough one for them against James Wood, but James Wood a power in Virginia.
Yeah, and always a tough, they play North Hagerstown and Williamsport a fair amount over the years and usually come out on the upper hand of that. So when you're beating those 2 teams semi-regularly, James Wood is a solid program. That's a tough spot for the Hubs because they've been sitting waiting for more than a week longer than almost anybody else in the county to get playing. So I'm sure there were some nerves going on last night, Monday night with them as well. Kind of a tough ask for their opener. I don't think I'd read too much into it. We know North has talent back. We know their coaching is superb. They're going to be fine. Just sort of one of those tough asks in their opening night.
Does their schedule start to kick into some sort of regularity here now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of an unusual, to have to go something like 10 or 11 days after the official start of the season to play your openers. Pretty unusual. They should be playing probably twice a week at the minimum from here on out. So again, they'll get into a rhythm, and obviously there's tough competition, like we said. Those Frederick County teams they're going to see, the Linganores and Urbanas and Tuscaroras. There'll be challenges, and of course they're going to wind up playing Williamsport as well. But yeah, I don't worry about that team too much.
And another team with a bit of a rough start here to the season, Clear Spring, another defending champion, losing to one of those Frederick County schools that you're talking about in Oakdale, but they've bounced back with a couple wins since then.
Yeah, Oakdale's a tough ask at an opener. I think they won a 2A state title 2 seasons ago, so a very quality program. And, openers can be funny anyway. You never quite know what to expect. But Clear Spring bounced back with a couple nice wins, and they have talent with Olivia Kirby, Kylie McHenrick, Valerie Dean, Mackenzie Slow. I mean, they got all sorts of returning players back, and so no worries. Just a rough opener for them against a quality opponent, and they shouldn't have lost any sleep over that whatsoever.
A couple other teams we want to talk about here. South Hagerstown, you mentioned earlier, and a loss to Williamsport to start the season, but then they bounced back, beating Smithsburg for the first time in 11 years. And South Hagerstown was one of the teams you talked about as being a team to kind of keep an eye on this season.
And an even more impressive win this time because they lost. One of the things that hurt them against Williamsport is they lost them away to a leg injury in pregame warmups, and that's a tough thing to bounce back from. But clearly South came back that Thursday night and did the job against Smithsburg. And I'm sure that's the biggest win for that program in a number of years, and a great confidence boost to those kids. And they've got to feel again like they have a shot against anybody if they show up and play well.
You mentioned the Williamsport match. They didn't perform quite as well as you expected.
Yes.
Is that something you just chalk up again to a first match, jitters kind of thing?
Oh, yeah. Opener, again, losing one of your key players to injury in that fashion. Tough thing to recover from, and then kind of get your mind focused to play your best. But like they showed their talent 2 nights later, and we're early in the season. They got a lot of parts back. I still think this is going to be a real good year for South.
Well, let's talk about on the other side of that in Smithsburg, and we knew this was going to be kind of a challenge for them this season. They lost a lot, But an 0-2 start to the season, not something we've maybe ever seen from a Smithsburg team.
No, but when you look at the teams they've lost to, again, quality teams. Smithsburg is going to be judged by what they do in November. And I would bet my life on they're going to be a much different looking team come November. They're going to be better than they are right now. You give Coach Bechtel and that crew a dozen games to get their team ready for November, and don't sleep on them.
Okay, well, we'll see how it all turns out. We've got a couple volleyball matches for you coming up live later this season. We'll have more on that for you later on in the show. Andy Mason joins me next to talk cross country right after this.
Cynthia Moeller Sullivan of Sullivan Select Real Estate has been recognized by Homelight in 3 categories: top overall producer, top seller's agent, and top agent that sells for more. Unlike other real estate venues, agents cannot pay to be recognized by Homelight. If you are considering the sale of your home, call Cynthia for a free market analysis, 301-988-5115. When it comes to real estate, select the best with Sullivan Select.
Introducing Antietam Smart Wi-Fi, the ultimate home networking solution. Smart Wi-Fi expands your wireless network and can eliminate Wi-Fi dead zones. Adding Smart Wi-Fi access points creates a Wi-Fi blanket for all of your devices, so you get consistent wireless internet speeds anywhere in your house. So go ahead and browse, game, and stream video in any room. Make the most of your internet with Smart Wi-Fi from Antietam Broadband. Smart homes deserve Smart Wi-Fi.
Welcome back to Inside Sports. We'll talk some cross country now. Andy Mason, Herald Mail Insider, joins us. Andy will talk about the Rebel Invitational. 20 schools, more than 20 schools competing, including 8 of the 9 Washington County teams. And on the girls' side, Boonesboro girls once again are come out on top.
Yeah, Boonesboro enjoys winning. They find ways to do it. This one I think was sort of a surprise. Not that Boonesboro's not good, but there were so many schools there, some bigger classification schools. And if you were to watch the race, you know, there's no Boonesboro girl leading the race, no one even challenging for the win. They had Samantha Agostini got 8th. She was the only girl in the top 15. So, you know, with Boonesboro, you know, your top runner might beat their top runner. Your number 2 girl might beat their number 2 girl. Maybe even your number 3 girl beats their Boonesboro's number 3, but Boonesboro's 4 is going to clobber your 4. Their 5 is going to clobber your 5. And that's, you know, it takes 5 runners, and that's, they get it done.
It's amazing that kind of shows the depth of that Boonesboro program.
Yeah, it's all about depth.
Yeah, well, tell us about who did shine for Boonesboro.
Well, there's Samantha Agostini led the way. She was 8th, and other top 20 finishers were Cami Rowe. She was 17th, freshman, who's also playing volleyball this year. Apparently, she's just working out with the team 1 day a week, so obviously a real talent. She's our number 2 girl, and Kayla Often-Brinky also got in the top 20.
Top county girl did not come from Boonesboro, came from Smithsburg instead, correct?
We talked about her last week in the preview show, a surprise. You know, this is a girl, she's a junior, Daly Younker. First year cross country runner. She previously has some experience running indoor track at Smithsburg, kind of like a sprinter, middle distance runner, not a standout, but she was the top, first year cross country, she's the top county girl. Finished 4th overall, and Phoebe Meehan, our reigning runner of the year from North. Hadn't lost to another county runner in two seasons since her freshman season, and she was number 2 county girl. She finished 6th overall. Now I don't know what's going on with her. Phoebe wasn't on her A game. I don't know if there's any story to that, but she was maybe 45 seconds slower on Saturday than she was at that race last year. So she didn't have her best race. Still a solid performance to get 6th, but right now, you know, she got beat by Daly Younker.
Well, Andy told us about Daly Younker last week, so that's why we have him here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the boys' race, and Williamsport finishing 2nd in the race to 4A Power Northwood. Good race for Williamsport.
Oh yeah, Northwood, nobody there had any chance of beating Northwood. Northwood's really good. They could win the 4A state title this year. They had, I mean, their number 5 runner beat half the other team's number 1 runners. You know, I think they went 1-2 and then had 4 of the top 6 finishers. I mean, they're an elite power. But Williamsport, you know, like I said, 20 plus schools, and they got 2nd. You know, Boonesboro, sort of their county rival, the reigning 1A state champs, 6-time county champs, got 4th. And Williamsport pretty much beat them at every spot. So right now, Williamsport is the team to beat in Washington County. And they're led by Zane Iggy Chalker. who had just had probably the race of his life Saturday. He got third place in 15:54, a blazing fast time for 5K cross country, and top three runner. The previous course record was on that course, which is 5 years old, I believe was 15:56. So, and there have been some great runners who've been at this meet over the years, and he went faster than anyone there's ever gone. And that includes some great county runners like Darren Harmon from South, Will Merritt from Smithsburg, Henry Schmidt from Boonesboro. None of those guys ran as fast as Iggy ran Saturday.
Any others from the county that stood out?
Yeah, we talked about him last week, a surprise kid from South, junior, Elam Akakpo. I hope I pronounced that right. I will learn that and get that right here one of these weeks. But 7th overall, number 2 county runner, ran 16:49. He just keeps improving and improving. Definitely the most improved runner in the county. Last year at this race, he didn't break 20 minutes. So he improved 3.5, 4 minutes from last year, gets 7th overall, beat a lot of good kids in the county who he never could have dreamed maybe even of beating last year.
So the big invitational this week is down at the site of the state meet, correct?
Yeah, the Bull Run Invitational at Hereford, a huge, gigantic meet. They have races all day long based on class sizes, and it's all of our public school teams are going to be there. And it's really, the state meet's a unique course because it's very challenging, very hilly, very challenging, and it's the biggest meet of them all. So it's really key that these teams go down there, 6 weeks earlier and get a look at the course, get some experience racing on it. And, the results, the big results on that course come in 6 weeks, but this is a nice little tune-up to let you know where you are.
Okay. Andy, thanks a bunch for being here. Appreciate it. We'll wrap up today's show right after this.
This month, Washington Goes Purple is focused on expanding the conversation about the dangers of prescription painkillers, the gateway to heroin. Every day, 91 people die from heroin or prescription painkiller overdose. Now's the time to start the conversation with your kids, friends, and neighbors about the epidemic and join us in a fight we will win and end our county's addiction to opioids. Log on to WashingtonGoesPurple.com for a list of events supporting our vision of an addiction-free county. We can't do it alone. Join us and let's prevent addiction.
Introducing Antietam Smart Wi-Fi, the ultimate home networking solution. Smart Wi-Fi expands your wireless network and can eliminate Wi-Fi dead zones. Adding Smart Wi-Fi access points creates a Wi-Fi blanket for all of your devices, so you get consistent wireless internet speeds anywhere in your house. So go ahead and browse, game, and stream video in any room. Make the most of your internet with Smart Wi-Fi from Antietam Broadband. Smart homes deserve smart Wi-Fi.
Hello, my name is Jim Gross, and I'm very involved in our local sports community, as you may have seen me on the volleyball court, the wrestling mat, or the softball field officiating sports. I'm also the broker and owner of Absolute Real Estate, as I've been making it easy for over 20 years in Washington County for people to buy and sell homes. Call me, Jim Gross, at 301-788-7888 for absolutely the best in savings and service, and ask me about my sports organization donation program.
Welcome back to Inside Sports. Closing things out today by telling you about the live coverage of high school sports we have coming up for you here on Antietam Broadband and where you can find that coverage. This Friday, September 20th, it's the second of our 4 high school football broadcasts of the season. We'll be at Williamsport High School to see the Wildcats play host to the St. James Saints. The Wildcats coming off a win against Smithsburg last week, while the Saints are desperate to stop their 3-game skid to start the season. Randy Longnecker joins me for the call. Pre-game begins at 6:45. Kickoff is at 7. And if you miss us live, we've got you covered. The game will replay on Channel 6 and 806 Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 8 p.m. In 2 weeks, on Friday, October 4th, we'll see the Wildcats again, this time against Boonesboro at Warrior Field. And finally, on Friday, November 1st, we'll get a repeat of the Warriors as Boonesboro travels to Smithsburg for their traditional season finale. We also have 2 premier high school volleyball matchups for you coming at you in back-to-back weeks in October. On Thursday, October 10th, it's North Hagerstown playing the defending Class 1A state champion Clear Spring Blazers at Clear Spring. And 1 week later, on Thursday, October 17th, we'll see the Hubs at home taking on defending 2A champ Williamsport. Letty Wilkes will join me to call the action in those 2 matches. There's a number of ways that you can see those events. You can catch them live right here on WCL-TV, Channel 6 and 806. You can download the WCL-TV on-the-go app for your mobile device or tablet on iOS or Android. You can view our live stream of the events on Antietam Broadband's live stream page, or you can view them after the fact by using Antietam On Demand. Finally, don't forget to look us up on social media. On Twitter, we are at Inside Sports OL. On Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat, it's at Inside Sports Now. Thanks to Bob Parcelletti, Dan Kaufman, and Andy Mason for being here today, and thank you for tuning in. We'll see you Friday night from Williamsport and back here in 2 weeks for our next episode of Inside Sports. Have a great weekend, everyone.